She grabbed my arm. Mr. Amos walked out of the room with my suitcase, and Mrs. Amos pulled me down the hall to Todd's room. We stood outside the door, listening to Todd groan. When Mr. Amos came back, my suitcase was gone. He'd been so quick that I knew my bag couldn't be too far away. She tapped on Todd's door and said, "Toddy, may we come in?" Todd's groans got a little louder. Finally, he said, "Yes, Mother. Come in." We opened the door, and as soon as he saw me, Todd got a real terrified look on his face. He scooched up to the headboard and wrapped his arms around his head. Mrs. Amos gave me a shake and said, "Well?" I put my head down and started shooting apologies out like John Dillinger shoots out bullets. I aimed at Todd first. "I know it was wrong of me to hit you. I know you were only trying to help, and I'm very sorry for what I did." I looked at Mr. Amos. "And, sir, I'm sorry that I got you out of your sleep." He rolled his eyes like that was enough for him. Mrs. Amos was going to be the hardest, because just like her ears were set to believe everything that came out of Todd's lips, they were set not to believe anything I said. And if I didn't lie good enough, she was going to use that strap on me. These Amoses might look like a bunch of cream puffs, but if she was anything like Todd, I bet she could pack a real wallop. "And, Mrs. Amos, I'm so grateful for all of your help, and I'm really, really sorry." I looked up and could see she needed more. "If you give me another chance, I promise I'll do a whole lot better. Please don't call the home. Please don't send me back." Shucks, going back to the home was just what I wanted to do. But I was being just like Brer Rabbit in one of the books Mama used to read to me at night when he yelled out, "Please, Brer Fox, don't throw me in the prick-a-patch. Please, please." This was another one of Bud Caldwell's rules and things to have a funner life and make a better liar of yourself. Rules and things number 118. You have to give adults something that they think they can use to hurt you by taking it away. That way, they might not take something away that you really do want. Unless they're crazy or real stupid, they won't take everything, because if they did, they wouldn't have anything to hold over your head to hurt you with later. Now, I stopped talking and gave Mrs. Amos a chance to jump right in. She held her hand up in my face and said, "Enough. Mr. Amos, give him the blanket and pillow off the bed he was in and put him in the shed." Todd said, "Yeah, buddy, keep a sharp eye out for the vampire bats in the shed." It was like a miracle. Todd's asthma was gone, and he turned into a real chatterbox. "Oh, and watch out for those spiders and centipedes, buddy. The last kid who got put in there got stung so bad he was swole up as big as a whale when we got him out in the morning." I guess I didn't look scared enough, because Todd kept going. "The kid before that hasn't been found to this day. All that's left is that big puddle of his blood on the floor. Isn't that right, Mother?" Mrs. Amos said, "Now, Toddy, hush up. You'll just tire yourself out more." I noticed that she never denied the things Todd had said about the vampires and centipedes and spiders and puddles of blood. As I followed Mr. Amos, I kept a sharp eye out for my suitcase. When we got to the kitchen, the first thing I saw was that there was a double-barrel shotgun leaning against the side of the icebox. I didn't have time to wonder why they'd be so scared they'd keep a big gun like that out in the open, because I spotted my suitcase slid way under the kitchen table. I didn't let Mr. Amos know I'd seen it, but it did make me get a lot calmer. We went out of the back kitchen door and down the steps into the dark. We walked around to the back of the shed, and he put a key in a padlock. A chain rattled, the lock came off, and the door creaked open. Even though it was nighttime, there was a whole different, scarier kind of dark in the shed. A colder dark, with more grays and more shadows. An old smell leaked out, and it seemed like it was the perfect smell that all this gray would have. Mr. Amos nudged me, and I took a baby step into the shed. He could kiss my wrist if he thought I was going to beg him and say things like, "I'll do anything you folks ask me if you don't lock me up in here all alone." I squeezed my tongue between my teeth to hold it still, 'cause I know a lot of times your brain might want to be brave, but your mouth might let some real chicken-sounding stuff fall out of it. I stood a little bit inside and looked around. Right under the window was a pile of stacked wood. There was a bunch of dusty spider webs in front of the little window, and someone had pasted old yellow newspapers over the glass so the kids who got locked in here couldn't peek out. Mr. Amos handed me the blanket and pillow and gave me another nudge. I took 2 more baby steps in. I looked down at the floor. If I was like a normal kid, I would have busted out crying, but I just stood there breathing hard. It was a good thing I'd bit my tongue, because I came real close to saying those stupid begging words to Mr. Amos. Right in the middle of the floor, there was a big black stain in the dirt. They really were going to make me sleep in a shed with a patch of blood from the kid who had disappeared out of here a couple of weeks ago? The floor went completely black when Mr. Amos pulled the door shut. I couldn't see it now, but I'd rememorized the exact shape the stain was in. The padlock snapped shut with the loudest click I'd ever heard.